Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. If you're new here and end up enjoying today's content, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button and red subscribe button as well. Also, you can follow me on all social medias at BladeMiss. And also today we're doing the top 10 hitters that I believe will get an upgrade. This roster update coming this Friday. And then tomorrow we will be uploading the top 10 pitchers. Now, I do not know exactly at what time I will be uploading it tomorrow, so make sure you subscribe so you'll get the notification whenever the video goes up. So we're going to start off with Tim Anderson. And since 2017, his average against right-handers has been 236. He's been slugging 387 versus left-handers is 313, slugging 483. Now this year in particular, he's hitting 444 against right-handers, 704 is his slugging percentage, and then versus left-handers, he's hitting 571 and slugging 643. Now versus left-handers, he has a small sample size, but we already know he can hit versus left-handers. That's why his contact numbers and power numbers against left-handers are where they're at in the game. So I see a minor upgrade to his right-handed numbers. I see his contact versus right and power versus right getting a minor upgrade that's going to go ahead and push him up to a 73, maybe 74. I do not see him going silver yet, but I do believe that if he's able to display this performance against right-handed pitching, then in no time he will be getting that call up to silver. And then we're going to go into Cody Bellinger as the next one. So since 2017, Cody Bellinger's average against right-handers is 283. He's been slugging 577. Versus left-handers, his average is 249. He's been slugging 471. 2019 versus right-handers, average 475, slugging 1050. Versus left-handers, average is 300, slugging 600. So we know he can hit right-handers. And due to the fact he has 2 years in the league and his average and slugging percentage against right-handers are doubled or nearly doubled this year, and he has a lot more at-bats, probably the guy that has the most at-bats out of everybody on this list, and he's still proven that he can destroy right-handed pitching. I do see his attributes going up versus right-handers, and I do see a minor little tweak to left-handers, both increasing since he is showing that he can hit lefties this year. Even though it's a small sample size, I think it's going to be just enough, and they're going to make it so it is just enough for him to hit that 85 overall diamond and get called up there. Now, next on the list is Carlos Santana. Now, Carlos Santana, since 2017, his average against right-handers is 244, slugging 436, versus left-handers 262, slugging 447. Now this year versus right-handers, he's hitting 379, slugging 517, left-handers 500, slugging 667. Now, we know he can hit lefties. That's why the numbers are there. Now versus right-handers, he's shown that he's improving a bit. He has more at-bats versus right-handers as well. But since in prior years he hasn't performed that well against right-handers, and it is still a small sample size since we're literally maybe 2-3 weeks into the season, they are not going to upgrade him by a lot in terms of attributes versus right-handers. So I see a minor upgrade versus right, and I see him going up to either a 78, 79 overall. I don't see him hitting gold just yet, but if he keeps up this performance, as most of these players, you will see them move up in tiers. Next up on the list is Alex Gordon. Now, Alex Gordon, since 2017, his batting average against right-handers has been 242, slugging 388, versus lefties 210, slugging 277. This year versus right-handers, he's hitting 419, slugging 710, and versus left-handers 300, slugging 800. I do believe that he is going to be upgraded to a 71, 72 overall. I see minor increases versus right and minor increases versus left. I don't see anything drastically moving, even though his numbers are great. I think he's going to need a lot more time due to the simple fact that the 2 prior years he has done a horrible job of hitting. So in order for him to actually go ahead and hit silver, he's probably going to have a gold tier caliber year, something like what Nick Markakis did last year. Next on the list is Elvis Andrus. Now, Elvis Andrus versus right-handers hit 288 since 2017, slugging 426, versus left-handers hitting 282, slugging 471. This year, 375 versus right-handers, slugging 500. Versus left-handers, his average is 429, slugging 714. So we know he has good contact against both sides. And Slugging wise, his numbers are relatively not that distant considering the size of at bats we have seen from him so far. Versus left-handers, it's a little bit inflated, but he hasn't had as many at bats. I think he has the potential of hitting an 80 overall. Now, whether or not we're going to see it this roster update, I say it is unlikely, but he does have the potential of going and hitting an 80 overall. I just believe he needs more at-bats in order to do so. Next on the list is DJ LeMahieu. Now, since 2017, DJ LeMahieu versus right-handers has been hitting 280 and has been slugging 375. Versus left-handers 347, slugging 545. So clearly he is a better hitter against left-handed pitching. This year against right-handers, he's been hitting 429, slugging 514, versus left-handers hitting 500, slugging 833. Now, I do see him going up to an 80 overall in this update, and the reason behind that is I do see minor increases to his right-handed hitting stats just because he has more at-bats against right-handers, and he's already proven that he has good contact against right-handed pitching. He doesn't have the best slugging numbers, but this year he has increased them by not too much, but enough to where he gets maybe a +3, +4 versus right in terms of power, and then a good amount against, or 2 contact versus right, that allows him to go up to an 80 overall. Anything higher than that, I say, is unlikely for him, but not, as in his projection towards the whole season. Freddie Galvis is next for us. Now, since 2017, versus right-handers, he's been hitting 244, slugging 386. Versus left-handers, 281, slugging 410. This year, versus right-handers, he's hitting 324, slugging 735. Versus left-handers, he's hitting 500, slugging 643. I see him going up to a 74 overall, possibility of hitting that 75 silver mark, and the attributes I see being increased are right-handed attributes. So his contact versus right, power versus right. He's shown this year that he can definitely put the bat on the ball and slug for power against right-handed pitching, but in order to continue moving in terms of overall, he's going to have to continue displaying those numbers while maintaining his averages versus left-handers and his slugging versus left-handers of the 2-year average, or 3-year average, I should say, instead of just the 2019 numbers. Now, next on our list is Austin Meadows. I hope I said that last name correctly. But since 2017, his average against right-handers has been 305. He's been slugging 506. Versus left-handers, 301. He's been slugging 589. I see an increase to his power, or I should say attributes in general versus right-handed pitching, and his attributes in general versus left-handed pitching. I see him going up to a 72 overall. And why, you might ask? Well, his average this year against right-handers is 366, but he's slugging an amazing 805. Versus left-handers, he's hitting 375, slugging an amazing 750 as well. Now, I do not believe he's going to maintain these numbers, so I do see minor increases, but increases enough to at least get him to 72 overall. Don't see him going silver just yet. He's going to need a lot more at-bats, but he's definitely in that field. Next up is the rookie, Pete Alonso. Now, Pete Alonso, I believe he has silver potential, maybe even gold potential by the end of this year if he maintains this performance up. So, his averages versus right-handers is 344, slugging 750. Averages against left-handers, 429, slugging 1,214. So I see his right-handed numbers and left-handed numbers going up for both contact and power. Now, why I don't see him going up to a silver is if you look at his inside edge, I'm not sure because I don't have the image right now in front of the screen, but it was +11, +11, and instead of jumping up to a silver, he only jumped to maybe a 72 overall, and I highly doubt he's going to be getting a +11, +11 on the roster update. So he might be getting +5 on all 4, and that might take him up to a 73, 74, but I don't see him going ahead and hitting silver just yet. I think it'll take him at least a month and a half from now, or a month even, to go ahead and move up in terms of tiers to actually go ahead and go silver. And then last but not least, we have Wilson Contreras. Now, this catcher right here, I have a lot of faith in him. I think he is probably one of the best catchers to invest in terms of going diamond potential. So, versus right-handers since 2017, he's been hitting 264, slugging 438, versus left-handers 263, slugging 496. Now his average this year against right-handers is 400, his slugging is 950, versus left-handers he's suffering, hitting 231, slugging 692. Although I do believe his numbers on the left-handed side in terms of averages will rise eventually, I'm not going to pay attention to I'm not going to pay attention to that right now. We're only going to pay attention to the right-handed numbers. So I believe he's going to get his attributes upgraded in the right-handed side. I believe it's going to be enough to get him to an 80 overall, or they might hold him off and not actually upgrade him this week and give him more time in order to prove that he can hit the way he's currently hitting against right-handers, and then go ahead and give him a little bit of an upgrade that actually gets him to an overall. But he definitely has that gold potential this update, and if not this update, the following updates, he definitely is one to keep in mind. Now there are some other players that I did not mention that are performing greatly, like Anthony Rendon and Mike Trout, but players like that are diamonds, or players that have attributes that already match what they're doing as of right now in terms of the season. Now, if they continue this pace of play, or this performance, I should say, throughout the middle of the season, then I do see those diamond numbers jumping up from, let's say, an 85 to an 87, a 94 to a 95 to a 96, etc. But all of these guys right here, these 10 players, there are players to actually invest in some stubs and hold on them in general, maybe even after the roster update on Friday when the prices crashed and some of them don't get upgraded to where most people thought they would. You go ahead and invest in them and go and make some stubs at the end of the day when you hold on to them and they do get the tier upgrades. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe button, and I'll catch you all in the next one.